Chad Brown goes everywhere with his service dog Axe, even on an airboat ride through the Florida Everglades. The U.S. Navy veteran suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. Following deployments in the Gulf War and Somalia, Brown was in and out of the Veterans Hospital, taking heavy medications. He became homeless and said he even contemplated suicide, until he discovered an unusual treatment.
A friend of mine took me to the river and put a rod in my hand, basically, and took me fishing. And I, found myself really getting into the sport. And when I was hooking in on my first fish, I was like laughing and I was proud, and I felt all this medication that I was taking was coming out of my system, basically.
Inspired by his personal healing through fly fishing, Brown created Soul River. The nonprofit organization takes veterans and inner-city youth on outdoor excursions like this one. Brown hopes exposure to nature and exchanges between the two groups can build a sense of community for participants, like 18-year-old Citlali Briseño, who never knew her father.
There was a lot of anger and resentment towards him, and just being in this organization, seeing men that actually have families and care for their families, and being exposed to different things that I can do that are productive in my community, that benefit me as a person, it's really eye-opening, and it helps out a lot.
Since 2013, Soul River had received most of its funding from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission.
I think it's incredibly important. I think we all depend on clean air and clean water and these open spaces to come and enjoy. So I think the more we can connect young people to these things, the more likely we'll be able to carry on our mission into the future.
This year, however, it received less than half as much from the federal agency. Brown blames the tough political climate and President Trump's proposed cutbacks on funding for conservationism. The Trump budget cuts $200 million to fish and wildlife, threatening youth programs.
It's a lifeline that I have, that I need, and that veteran, and and that veteran, that youth needs as well. And we were pretty much relying on that piece to come in.
Thanks to private sponsorship from a fishing gear company, Brown was still able to take a smaller group to the Everglades. He will take another group to the Arctic in the fall, but the total number of excursions are now only half of what they were in 2016.